What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today we got ourselves Backbone Gen 1 versus Backbone Gen 2. This video is for those of you that wants to know the ins and out of Backbone Gen 1 versus Gen 2. I actually did a video on the Gen 2 already. Awesome piece of tech. They've definitely improved this to where it'll work with most cases that you have in your inventory, okay? Thick one, thin one, whatever it is. So Gen 2 is definitely good if you're thinking about getting the Gen 2 and you're wondering if it supports cases. As long as you don't use Autobox, it will support it for you, okay? But even the ones that stick as Autobox, you should go ahead and try it because it should work. It's just Autobox makes the port, for some reason, it won't connect. Anyway, Gen 1 versus Gen 2. So let's get right into it. So the way they did with the Gen 1 is that if you have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, you will have to use this little plastic right here. Because what that does is that it raises this just a bit so that it'll hold your phone together. The problem there is that your phone will pop out because it's too big. And that's where this little rubber seal actually will solve that problem for you. The Gen 1 does not work with cases. So you can see right there, I want to pop this. Oh, you know what? This is iPhone. This is Lightning. I need to use a Lightning one. Okay. So you can see right there, if you use like a Pro Max, it'll fit perfectly in there. And you see how the cameras are raised, so it's nice and tucked in there. So yeah, this will work just fine. It's very clean. All right. But if you don't have this little attachment to it, so the problem here is that if you don't have that little attachment, you know, even though it fits on this side right here, it won't go. Let me see if I can show you here. You see how this won't go all the way down because the camera is actually propping it up. So yeah, it can't. I can't go down any further, and that's why they have to attach this little thing right here to raise it up a little bit so that your camera can, can be raised. But yeah, that's why, because I'm an iPhone Pro Max user, I always have to have this little rubber piece on here. The way they did with the Gen 2 is that they solved that problem by go ahead and build the entire thing in. So you see this little thing here, it catches your phone so it holds it in place. Unless you want a really tight fit, you don't really need like those inserts which comes with it. It comes with 2 inserts. It doesn't really matter because I can just go ahead and use this without a case and it's just fine. I don't need any kind of insert or anything like that. I got plenty of room to grow here. And as you can see, they made it to where it catches both sides, okay? But if you want a tighter fit, then you use the insert and it will hold the phone together even better. You know, most people don't own multiple phones, so once you have the insert in there, it's just gonna stay in place. The cool things about these insert is that, so you see this insert right here, it has 3 little magnets right here. So this is S, meaning that it's small, and it tells you that it's USB-C right there. And then with the magnet, you attach the magnet right there. So you just literally just slip this thing in and it'll just self-attach. It's a little hard to get it out though. I mean, I have to really use my finger to like pry it open. But yeah, it's attachable with magnets. Once you get it in there and you have your one phone, I don't think you're gonna swap it out or anything like that like I do. But just to let you know, it's not gonna be that big of a hassle in my opinion. Same thing on the other side. It has the 3 magnets right there. And I just go ahead and drop this thing in there. And yeah, it just stays in place. I mean, it's very strong. It's not gonna fall out at all. Unlike Gen 1 where this thing I feel like it'll just fall out if I throw it in my bag. Okay, so the other thing you're probably wondering is that about the cases. I did a full video on the Gen 2 with cases and I tried out a bunch of different cases, but I want to tell you that it works. It works with most of your case. The reason why I say most is because for some reason the Autobox cases that I'm using, because this thing for some reason they made it to where they didn't cut it correctly or something like that. Anyway, I have some other cases here where, as you can see, the port on it is a lot bigger with the cut. And I think that's the one thing about Case Maker right there is that if you have one that have that does a really big cut on this, then it's great. It should work just fine. But if the cut is too small, then it won't work. And most of the cases I've tried so far have worked, other than the Autobox brand, because the way they cut the bottom right there is all the same throughout all of their cases. Other question probably you're asking is, will case work with the Gen 1? It won't work. I'm just going to say that right now. It won't work because it will pop out when you use cases with it. It'll pop out because the camera bump is too... There's too much of a camera bump right there, and they really didn't plan on the iPhone getting that big of a camera bump, to be honest with you. So yeah, just an FYI on that one. Gen 1 will not work with cases. Just grab yourself the Gen 2, spend a little more extra money and grab the Gen 2. You'll be super satisfied with that. In terms of gameplay, guys, I play some Call of Duty with these, and they're great. Okay, they're great. Now here's the thing though. And I complained about this in my first video when I was comparing the backbone with the Razer Kishi. If you've ever used the Nintendo Switch controller, you know, the Joy-Con, it's a little hard, okay? The reason why is that this little thumbstick right here, it doesn't give you a lot of movement. Meaning that, you know, when you play FPS, you're aiming down sight, it moves quite a bit. So just a little bit of touch to this, you know, you're like going all over the place. So the sensitivity is really high on these joysticks just because they're so small, right? They're so close together. It's just like the Joy-Con, the issue with the Joy-Con. So that's really my only complaints about that, other than the fact that you have to have a subscription to use that one app that they have, which is, to me, kind of useless in my opinion. So anyway, I know they have to make money and all, but yeah. Buttons and stuff like that, it feels good. It feels the same, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if they updated it. I didn't really read any spec on the fact that they updated it, but yeah, buttons and all, feels good. No problem there. Anyway, guys, that's the difference between the backbone Gen 1 and Gen 2 right there. I didn't even know that they had a Gen 2, to be honest with you. It was just on sale, and I looked at it, and I realized how many versions there are out there. Oh, so the other thing is, I just want to mention that if you're thinking about either getting the Xbox version or the PlayStation version, don't be like me and get the PlayStation version unless you really are going to use this on the PlayStation Remote. The Xbox version with the button layout is going to work with more games, in my opinion, because, like, for instance, in Call of Duty, when I play mobile game, these buttons are not doing it because they'll say, hey, press X or press Y. Just know that it's not going to be X or Y on here unless you know the button configuration on Xbox controller, okay? So I would recommend you getting the Xbox version just because I think the button layout is more user-friendly to other games. But if you own a PlayStation and you're using this thing like a PlayStation Portal and you're remoting into your PlayStation, then yeah, I'd totally recommend getting the white one because it looks so sleek and cool. But other than that, guys, grab the Xbox version. All right, it'll work with more game than you know. Anyway, guys, that's it for me right there. I hope you guys find this video useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.